go for it now. Alright, this is Metastability, a Mage the Awakening Chronicle. We're returning after a long and very mysterious hiatus. I am your storyteller, Ed, and I'm joined by a gang of lovable misfits who, due to the impossibility of my pointing at them through this medium, I will name off aloud. Ebo, Lee, Richard, Rory, and Jeff. You can all yell out which one you are at the top of your lungs.
I'm Richard.
I'm Lee.
I'm Richard.
I could have done louder, but I didn't.
Okay.
I'm also Rory.
We could just all change our names on here.
Everyone changed their name to James Randy.
It's like that thing where three of you have the same Facebook picture, and so it's impossible to tell.
And only two of you are in the picture.
Richard,
Hey,
you're in there. You're just not looking carefully enough.
I'm the one in the middle, guys. That's why. It
Through a
works.
strange twist of time and space,
He's
you're the one in the
the
middle.
door opened. He was just hiding in it.
Right. So
Never
So
been
it
to
has
that
been a
place
while.
with you guys ever.
I think we've all been to that place one too many times. You know what I mean. So yeah, it's been a while since we played this game. I'm curious to see what you guys remember about what has happened in the most recent session.
I broke through a ward and watched a person.
Oh, we talked to
You
Greybeard.
did? We did.
Oh, we spent a while talking to Greybeard.
That
It was
the thing we
exposition
did,
as
right?
fuck.
Did I nail it? Is that what we actually did?
Ricky Greybeard.
Yeah, most of it. Yeah.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure there wasn't like some secret session after
You
that
did.
that my
You
brain
do hot dog related shenanigans.
So we did have the cool session that everybody liked so much that Richard missed because we ditched him.
Yep.
I'm joking, of course.
No, I believe you. I believe you. No take backs.
Do I get
Okay.
to drink heavily now that
Everybody
you
but
guys are
Richard gets an
convincing me?
experience point.
Okay, I'll take it.
I'm just joshing until
not
the end of
giving
the
it back.
session.
Yeah, no takesies, backsies.
You said we get experience, I'm taking the experience.
Oh boy, this is getting a little cutthroat.
That'll make up for
That's
that
what I'm
1
going
XP
to
that I
do.
got by
I'm gonna
myself
gain
when you guys weren't around.
I'm gonna gain a point of weaponry to make it even more cutthroat.
I was gonna say it's a little cutthroat, whereas Sostratus is usually a little shoot face. See? Yeah, you did talk.
First,
You did talk with Greybeard for a while, and he did go over a pretty hearty chunk of exposition.
and he tried to convince us that we should work for the Archmage he wants us to.
Yep.
Did it work?
He
He promised us limited power in exchange.
Okay, that worked then.
did basically try to persuade you to join on to fulfilling his goals in exchange for what he promises will be reward.
But in the meantime, information against your enemies.
Right. And he gave you one other thing for the meanwhile. Oh boy. He gave you
Paint that I had?
he
Is that the
empowered you
rabbit?
with a powerful destiny to weed out and remove seers of the throne explicitly who
Right.
may be spying on the Pentacle Concilium in Chicago.
Yes, we were careful in the wording of that.
Now, what kind of
We were very
what does that actually mean mechanically for us? So, do we know? Okay.
It means basically that
Like if
Anytime
we
you were
do an
doing
action,
something, anytime you were doing something specifically works toward that destiny, you get extra dice.
How many extra days?
does this mean that we can root out who all is a seer in this cabal by doing things to each other and seeing who gets extra dice for what?
Every session, every
Yes.
session you get 10 dice that you can use on any roll that is in pursuit of your destiny.
I want to use all 10 dice to root out Lee as a seer.
Me too.
I want to do what
Wait,
Richard's
wait,
doing.
Is that 10
Okay,
dice on a
faithful.
we
single?
don't have 5.
Is that 10 dice on a single roll, or 10 dice divided
No, 10
how
dice
we wish?
used to separate however you want.
I believe they're
But you only
accounted
get-
for this session.
You only get 10 per session, so you have to choose where you use them.
So like old school pools.
Yes.
Part of rooting them out.
It's his density.
Well, if someone had matter, I would have more density bullets.
And it does. You know, it does not appear to be limited, so you can save them. And at one critical point in a session, for instance, roll 10 extra dice.
Shoot a seer and I got it.
You should just go for the brain at that point. Just take them out.
Weighing the brain.
I wonder what the difficulty would be to shoot him in both eyes.
Oh, at the
Both
same time.
Brains.
Do I need matter to co-locate bullets though?
I don't know.
That works.
Good point.
I was thinking splitting the bullet in two and just doing the double bullet thing.
I'm really disappointed I don't have my camera.
There's a trick shot where you hit two balloons with one bullet by cutting it using an axe blade to cut the bullet. And have
I'm
it
pretty sure
spin.
there's one of those over-the-top Bollywood cop movies where a character does that, which I've seen clips circulating on internet where he raises a hunting knife and then puts a pistol behind it and shoots the knife, and the bullet is cut in half and kills two guys.
Well, if it's in a movie, it must be possible.
Listen, if the things that take place in Bollywood action movies are not possible, then I don't want to live. Yeah.
Boy, this whole conversation's just going downhill, guys. We really need to
All right,
get
guys.
back on Mage.
Oof.
I can only take one of my Arcana to 4, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know if there was anything else.
Oh, and we can't use arcane experience for anything other than Gnosis, is that correct?
At this time, that is correct.
Alright.
I take it from things that I've read that that isn't going to be strictly the case in second edition. But since
Did we hear me sniffle and the whole works while I was up there? Or was I muted?
Now.
I heard
Okay.
you sniffle just now, but
Oh, good enough.
not before. But since the particulars of how experience expenditures are going to work haven't been exactly spoiled, I don't believe. Then I don't really know for now, so we'll maybe try to stay the course. Drat. So yeah, there was some mixed interest in moving ahead with the possible astral travel. So my thinking was we would just kind of take a little bit of time to go over things that people would have been working toward in the downtime. and then kind of come back to what you want to be doing next in real time-ish.
We're not special anymore yet. It's no longer free.
Real-ish time.
Yes, realish time. So yeah, I guess I got some stuff from Jeff about what Zeus was doing. Is there anybody else who had any specific activities that they were going to try to work on in the downtime period?
Yeah, I was going to buy a dot in Consilium status.
Sure.
To what do you call it? You know,
Do up a doobie doo.
Doop-a-doobie-doo?
represent my my character, the time and effort and etc. knowing other peoples and whatnot that my character's been doing. Other than that, she's mainly going to school and looking for a mentor, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
And I wanted to do long-term surveillance on the prison,
Oh, I was. Nah, fuck it.
and I would attempt daily scries or near daily scries on that guy.
Okay.
Basically, I want to try to see if I can get a handle on seer activity in the area.
Okay. Barasus, did you have any agendas for the downtime period?
I have no agenda.
You have no agenda?
No, not right now.
That's a lie. He's still a guardian. He has agendas.
Mm-hmm.
So you're mostly just tending
Aging.
to your shop,
Yeah.
blending in.
I think I would do that right now. Yeah. I might do some stuff afterwards.
Sure.
Let's see.
Yeah, what's Hal got in the hopper?
Well, kind of just basically the same stuff we've already been talking about. The stuff that I had mentioned on Facebook was the stuff that was important to me. I don't know if we have a name for it yet, but that one place that we went to that seemed like an old sanctum or something. I had been kind of pushing roads for like access to that, so I could like get into their little library and their research papers and other stuff. But also, I also wanted to use my downtime to do some astral travel, which sounds like we might do some of that anyways. So, but other than those two things, I think he's just working and, you know, studying.
Okay. All right, yeah, so in the period following your periodical confrontations with the shackled kings and your eventual assassination of two of them, I think two.
There was another thing I was going to do.
Did we actually assassinate any of them?
You know, I would call the thing with Loeb a straight up assassination. He was prepared. We just gangbanged him.
I mean, I would say that was just murder, but if you want
It
to
really
call
depends
it
on how you define assassination.
The other thing I was going to do that
They
I
are
completely,
kings, after all.
Oh yeah,
I
that's true.
completely biffed on is I wanted to start scouting for people who might be Cabal members. Granted, I think we're looking for a guardian,
Right.
so I can only do so much. But I guess I'd try to make sure that process is continually moving forward. If you know what I mean.
Right.
I don't know how long the Cabal has gone before with lesser numbers than it's used to, but I'd rather get back up to speed so that everything is running more or less smoothly sooner than later.
Sure.
Why is it not running smooth enough for you right now?
It's not running as smooth as it could be. We're short a door warden. Well, I'm not. I think Rory is the one who went up to the second circle, right? I'm already
Yeah.
losing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Process would also look for a door warden, or another guardian, if that were a thing
Sure.
to do that I would remember, because I forgot. I'm kind of fuzzy. I gotta get back into it. Sorry.
Yeah. In the
I remembered something else. Oh wait.
yeah, the I was just gonna say the Concilium has been Concilium-wide activity has been fairly low. Normal, like, back and forth communications are still pretty lively, but overall, like, it seems like the spirit of inter-cabal cooperation and general unity among the orders is kind of worse over the 6 months than it had been before. It's not really clear why, but cabals are kind of keeping to themselves, playing it safe, more so than you would expect. There's people just seem to be occupying themselves with their own projects, researching their own mysteries, and neither asking for or freely offering their help with things.
You said they're doing that more now.
Yeah, more in general. Like I say, you can contact somebody from another cabal and they're not going to give you grief. They'll help you probably if you ask.
Okay.
You can, the Mysterium members can kind of find, others at the Athenium. Materials are still available. The Guardians are kind of working normally. Being standoffish and discreet is not anything particularly new for those of you who are Guardians.
Hey, another thing I wanted to do that I forgot about is I'd practice my mind to get it up to 4.
Yeah, you can all be assumed to have gotten to a point in your studies where you can get to 4 in one of your arcana.
Okay.
I guess another thing that Lee kind of reminded me of was, which probably goes without saying, but I would continue whatever practice is that we're using to keep Khufu sedated.
Yes.
And if we don't have anybody that is basically dedicating themselves to that yet, I will be the caretaker on that end.
I will look at our security in general, but not so much taking care of him.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Process is gonna let you do that.
If I tell you not to go through a door for a while, don't go through that door for a while.
Was that for me or for all of us?
That's for the group. Like if I say that door is not where you should be entering the I want to say chantry. Chantry, right,
Sanctum?
the right word? Sanctum. What's chantry from?
Chantry's from Mage the an awakening, but it isn't anything you need to worry your pretty little head about.
Okay. Well,
It's like what archmages call their sanctums, basically.
Oh, I forgot about the dog thing. I need to try to find a pack for that dog. The dog spirit.
Uh-huh.
That is something I would probably do during downtime, unless something comes up that requires non-downtime activities.
In Jeff's old game, if you went to New York, you'd very easily find a pack of dogs. Because Joe killed a bunch of dogs.
Dog ghosts is different than dog spirits.
Also, I bet dead dog spirits are way worse than regular dog
I
spirits.
bet those ones were.
Joe attracted the most weirdly specific spirits of all, the spirits of dead dogs.
Spirits of like dog torture murder. I think.
That's what I'm getting out of this.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Use what you're given.
Sure.
Sure. Then we're. Let's see. Then yeah, I guess Lee. I guess I'd invite you to make a. I will call it a presence plus empathy roll with a -3 to represent something that you're interacting with during the downtime.
If this is dog related, I could use animal kin if that's more appropriate.
Oh yeah, you can if you want to.
Is it still -3?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nope, empathy it is.
I like to think that you
Ooh, I get 2.
don't have any animal kin. You just
I have
thought
1.
You did.
Sure.
I have
Like,
1
that would
animal
be
kin
a
and 2
true-
empathy.
Free council member.
Yeah.
I'm good with. I'm one with everything. Yeah, but you're not.
I have a name for this dog, I think, written down somewhere. Yeah, the dog spirit is called Karhoth.
I'm going to write that down somewhere.
Carhauth.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I made that up or if that's just what it was called in the werewolf book that I got it from, but either way, it's pretty sweet.
That is a pretty cool name.
You will notice right away, like, he is not as nice to you as he was the first time. He's fairly aggressive when you interact with him again, and you have trouble dealing with him, especially when you start introducing him to a lesser dog spirits you can find in the area.
Mm-hmm.
They're not easy for you to get along with either, and especially when they start to get into group, you sort of eventually will you're not going to get attacked or anything, but you're pretty once you've gotten a couple in the fold, you are more or less just seeking them out and sending them to him.
Rather
Because
than
they're
interacting
two
with
of-
him directly.
They're very aggressive to you in a group. When you're milling around, they'll sort of stalk circles around you and kind of try to corner you in ways that seem very predatory and aggressive.
Sure. Is there I guess I'd like to try to monitor them.
Okay.
Either via stealth, mostly via stealth is my my go-to one. I'm just trying to see if I have anything that would be appropriate. Could I use a oh geez, I don't remember all the practices. Could I use, what is it, veiling practice to make myself less likely to be noticed by spirits?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of downtime stuff, so I'm not going to make you roll for it.
Sure.
You can use that to make yourself less conspicuous to them and
Hey, I got a
spend some
question.
time monitoring them. Yeah, what do you need?
My question is, could Lee use veiling? And this is I just wanted to see if this would actually work. Could he mask his non-spiritness with veiling? Spirit. Like, could he pretend like he's a dog spirit, or that he's not a human?
That's an interesting idea.
I had to take a look at the various practices and their effects. That seems a little more advanced than just straight up.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I just wanted to see if I could.
But it's food for thought for sure.
Yeah.
Pretending to be a dog spirit would be also very cool, and
Or
it's an angle I certainly hadn't thought of.
Or pretending to.
Believe it or not, I think I might have made up that name.
Boy, I really love kibbles and bits. How about you guys?
Anyone else smell bacon?
Anybody else?
Is it too early for those commercials? I think it is.
Okay. Yeah, the
Kibbles and bits and bacon. Right?
No, it's from Beggin Strips.
Bacon.
because it's spelled beggin, but it sounds kind of like bacon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the
It's
ad
supposed to
wizards
taste
who came
like
up with
bacon
that
if you're a
one?
dog.
They were tasty, weren't they?
Did you like
Have
them?
them in what way?
Like, they must have been worth it. Like, did you just figure it out? Like, you're like, I just want to try one of these, and then you just start buying them.
Out of curiosity, Lee, is there like a position in the overall hierarchy of the Concilium that Cyprus is reaching for, or are you just trying to make yourself more generally useful? And
I'm trying to be more generally useful with the intent. I mean, she'd like to be a herald.
okay,
But I don't. I think that's beyond the one dot in status. But she'd like to work her way up to that, at least for now. And she has a go get 'em attitude, so she's just trying to make herself useful for now.
okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, 1 dot of Concilium status doesn't explicitly prescribe a specific rank or task, but like they suggest Herald sits at around 3.
Sure.
But there are obviously exceptions to that, and positions that might exist in this Concilium that don't exist in the core book, and also Conciliums that might be made up for you if you demonstrate a specific useful attribute that they want to capitalize on.
I mean, at this point, she has as much Mysterium status and Mystery Initiation as she is capable of having. And yeah, I'm just sort of a little bit slow rolling the Concilium status for now, but I plan to pick that up in the future. But yeah, she's going to spend time monitoring to see if there's something else that's influencing these spirits, like a greater similar spirit, or if they're just if they're being mucked with by another spirit mage or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you can observe them for a while during the downtime, and you don't really see them interacting with anything or even really behaving that much differently than you would expect them to, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You will learn a lot about their behavior that you probably would have had no reason to know about dogs in general or their spirits. But beyond just the general like observation, yeah, they don't seem to really be acting different in any way except that when you're around they're slightly more aggressive. You don't see them acting differently you don't see them interacting with any other mages. So it's hard to say if that's particular.
Yeah, I guess do I have a feeling it's related to the weird curse thing that we got, but I don't have any way to test that particularly. So I guess I'm just gonna sort of keep an eye on them. Like the other thing I'd like to do that's slightly related is I'd like to try to sort of I guess cultivate the spirits around our sanctum so that there are spirits in the area that may or may not be not necessarily loyal to us, but would be available in case we needed to defend the sanctum, or would have some vested interest in defending us if we were attacked.
I haven't gotten too deep into the like ephemeral entities rules from God Machine Chronicle and after, but they
I have hardly looked at them.
Yeah, I mean the one idea that they have that isn't super. It's a little bit more codified than it was before, where there are conditions that usually apply to objects or places or people that allow ephemeral entities to interact with them in certain specific ways. And like resonant is the key initial step in working with spirits. With the arcana that you have, it would be I would say maybe laughably easy to create an area that has a certain resonance in your neighborhood, which would make it more attractive to a certain type of spirits if you were trying to get a certain kind.
Sure.
You can also move on to doing things like open condition is a pretty powerful one, wherein you can basically take an anchor if you're dealing with ghosts, or a resonant condition if you're dealing with spirits, and kind of amp it up so that they are freer than to manifest, possess vessels, or otherwise materialize without dying explosively of essence loss.
That's
Well, not
awesome.
dying, but like basically going where you're not supposed to makes an ephemeral entity bleed essence rapidly, and you can make the conditions more favorable for them to use those abilities.
Sure.
If you're not careful, of course, you might invite a spirit that can like permanently claim a mortal host and give them a boost that they need to make a hybrid flesh and spirit entity that terrorizes the physical world. So,
You know, I mean,
That sounds terrible.
yeah, I mean, I guess, is there a specific type of spirit or...
you know, I'm gonna have to think about that.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, like, you could probably
Pick the evil one.
you could probably create even more more than one like resonant frequency basically that pleases.
Well, I had originally gone with dog spirits since I figured, dogs loyalty, but I have a feeling that that well may have soured. So I might
Okay.
I don't know. I might go
with cats.
Mooney. See if
Oh,
I can get
God.
some Luna Mooney related stuff in here.
Sure.
Since
That seems safe.
Spirits of
Um,
the Cat musical?
You
or
might
just
invite a powerful
no
spirit that
cats?
can possess
Talking
mortal
about
hosts.
something
Let's go with,
jello
the moon. The moon's not powerful.
no, I mean like,
Exactly.
I mean I thought
not
for sure you
summoning
were
the
going to
whole
talk
moon.
about werewolves. Like 100%, because that's a real danger.
Is that Orwell?
Use in it for fame,
fame
and
and
fortune?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Classic
It takes
werewolf
literally
figure.
nothing more than that for us.
That's why we can't ever play Werewolf the Forsaken, because it would be Werewolf the Forsaken from the Procession and forever.
Yeah,
Yes, Bane.
I already am on that.
Okay, guys.
My
Okay.
werewolf name is Yada Glanchi. Like I said, my werewolf name is Yada Glanchi. That's it.
The okay. Hal, so you're working on training. You're kind of hoping to explore the bunker / sanctum.
Yeah, I'm just trying to uncover like just any kind of information about like what went on there. I just want to know more about it because we didn't get a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I don't know, for whatever reason we got kind of rushed out of there. I could have stayed there for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I guess during that downtime, would Stratus help people go there if they wanted to?
What does Rhodes want?
Yeah, he would be fine with it if he was there, pretty much.
And that's why he's our leader.
Yeah,
Would
I
he-
mean, basically, so Stratus will follow Rhodes' lead on that.
Sure.
He's not gonna. If Rhodes says no, nobody goes there. Stratus is not gonna ferry people during downtime. But if Rhodes is like, yeah, sure, whatever, as long as I go along, Stratus has no
not-
problem doing that.
He's not exactly yeah, sure, whatever. He's more like he wants for those of you who are curious about it to get a chance to fulfill that curiosity, but he wants to basically be able to get at anything that he thinks is first circle stuff and kind of keep it private.
Oh, well, he might need to be a little bit more proactive than I am.
Yeah, I
don't
mean
know.
he'll basically Hal won't get to go there as much or for as long as you could stomach.
Mhm.
But you can take a couple of journeys there.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything in particular that you're looking for, or just
That's
looking at,
the
like,
thing. I'm not. I'm kind of.
Okay.
I mean, outside of the game, I'm kind of giving you opportunity to flesh out that place because it was just a mysterious place. So I want to know more about it, and this gives you the opportunity to flesh out the
Mhm.
history of the cabal.
Right, and I very well may do that.
I feel like we already know all of its secrets.
Well, I don't.
And you were saying that you would maybe indulge in some astral travel.
I would very much do that.
Would you just experiment by yourself, or would you want to enlist the help of the Fa to guide you?
Well, that was the thing, is that I felt like I should enlist them for help.
Mhm.
At least, doing that sort of thing as a newbie. But
Sure.
if I wanted to do it more often, then, we'll see where it goes.
Basically, as far as a grand trip to the end of the fallen world. We won't just do that in downtime. If you want to do it, we'll whomever wants to do it will actually play it out. But
Yeah.
You can get Fa to take you to different parts of astral space, including the Anima Mundi. They'll go there with you. Like I say, they won't take you all the way to the they won't take you to the nastier parts, or at least the more impossibly vast places.
Mm-hmm.
But like the the basic topography of the Anima Mundi is kind of it's sort of when you follow your meditative path into astral space as far as it will go, basically carrying you past the point where the realms of human consciousness can be found.
Mm-hmm.
There's a massive border stone called Omphalos. This is a lot of content. Most of this is from published books, so I'm not just like pulling this out of my butt. But it's basically a massive stone shrouded in mist, and you can walk around it and explore a very long distance. The stone is inscribed with runes in high speech, which Fa will tell you basically represents the fact that high speech is both a language and more than a language, and that this is like one of the, not the last, but one of the last vestiges of things that human thought describe, but it's also kind of a primal thing as well. And if you want to explore that, you will find that the mists are in the area of the Omphalos are mildly hallucinogenic. And when you breathe deeply of those mists, they will sharpen and deepen and enhance your interpretation and understanding of those runes.
That's awesome.
Basically allowing you to get a further understanding of high speech than you would normally have. It is usually it's ideal for pondering a specific question. If you're planning a major working of magic, you might want to consider the runes that you would like to use to finalize it in this place in order to get a greater grip or understanding. You can enter the Omphalos through tunnels. There's a lot of weird stuff in there, and they'll basically take you, or Fa will take you to a route that leads more or less through it.
Just out of curiosity, is all of Fa going to come along for that sort of thing, for this field trip?
Yeah, he or she will take you.
They are one.
Guide you in his or her unified astral form.
Now, also out of curiosity, this was something that Cypress had interest in. Would Cypress had wanted to go for this, or on a separate one?
If Cypress had an interest, they would show her to.
Yeah, I would definitely go. This sort of stuff is like
basically anybody
really
who doesn't
wild kind of magic.
Anybody who doesn't mind spending a long afternoon with Fa is welcome to go.
I like Fa.
Would anybody else desire to go?
I think I would.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Brazos with the brain opening.
Brazos, yeah. Hey man, I can astral travel now.
Oh, that's
But
true.
in
You're
the-
probably really good at it now that you're like Mind 4.
There are
I mean, you
a
were
couple
probably
of
really
things
good at it before.
more so than in the Temenos. There are certain constant and unavoidable things in the Anima Mundi. You have to confront and surpass the Omphalos. and you have to ascend one of two spires. They refer to them as the Spire Perilous and the Swa. And they're the Spire Perilous is supposedly the what is left in the place where the celestial ladder was built.
Mhm.
And it is probably the way that they would take you. And there are unpleasant, writhing, snaky bundle creatures that live on there that Fa will be able to fight and defeat pretty easily.
What manner of creatures are these? I mean, this is just astral planar.
They're called Typhonides, and they chew on the spire and try to eventually destroy it. But
I got a question.
Yeah.
You said that this is the place where they built the ladder.
yeah,
Is this where it was like actually built, or is this where it was like erected and put up, or is it the same thing?
yeah, Fa would, if you ask, and
Yes.
if you do any research, you would find that the consensus seems to be that is what people believe, and that is the strongest interpretation that anyone has conjured. But what the celestial ladder actually ever was is one of the deepest, darkest mysteries of all of magic. If it could be recreated, it almost certainly would, and it almost certainly would cause an additional disaster.
So it's like one of those concepts where, since if it's archmagic, you might not even be able to understand the concept that went
It's-
behind creating it.
One of those things like it's not even, well, it is archmagic, but the basic idea is like no two orders really agree about what
Anything.
magic was before the fall.
Okay.
And so it represents an attempt to understand things that elude understanding. And basically the answer to your question very well may be the study of many mages' lifetimes. But that's what legend says. The sloth, on the other hand, is fairly well, if not well understood, it's at least given to a more comprehensible interpretation, which is that it represents the negative intrusion of humanity on the natural world. And so essentially, although they wouldn't necessarily take you that way, it basically represents the destruction of nature by industry and pollution. And so
Okay.
there are a lot of mechanics, a lot of chemicals, a lot of fogs of smoke and acid rain and all that garbage. It's basically like a Captain Planet bad guy, only it's a place. So yeah, I mean, they will basically say that in terms of what you prefer to do to get into the Anima Mundi, it's kind of up to you. Neither way is especially safe, and neither way is foolishly suicidally dangerous. You just have to be prepared for possible danger and sort of pick your battles carefully.
How does Fa fight? In astral space, do they use magic to fight, or are they like punch fighters, or?
Do they all run around with their
I think it's
fingers
just
on
the-
their temples and just like blasting things with their mind?
In Astral, Fa is punching and kicking.
Awesome.
You can tell that at least as far as its astral expression, the body that they create together is pretty much physically optimized. This is a thing that was going to be very important if you were actually doing a lot of scenes in Astral in this session, but one thing to bear in mind with the newer rules is that there is no paradox in astral space. So you can reach as much as you want on any given casting with no downsides. The one exception to that is in the oneros of most sleepers and pretty much all like banishers or other people who have a specific ingrained negative internalization of magic. They will often have paradox in their personal dream spaces.
Is that kind of like the idea that even if it is happening in astral space, they still know that somewhere it's real, or is it
Basically the idea is that sleepers have even if they're not seeing it with their eyes, it's essentially like having a sleeper witnessing you do the magic.
Got it?
If you're doing it in their own arrows.
So
That hasn't been spoiled in the actual rules, but that was the way it worked in the old edition, and that's still my preferred understanding of how it works. What were you asking, Ryan?
Pretty cool.
It's possible to physically transport things between astral space and the real world.
Yes, it does require a fairly high degree of Arcana mastery.
What
Is that
does it
like
require?
mind and matter?
It's
Maybe prime?
It's mind, matter, and prime. If the object is enchanted, it's prime too. I think it's like mind 4, matter 4.
But the Fa can do that.
The Fa have the, you think, combined strength to do that with artifacts.
Okay. Can you then like craft a really powerful spell in astral space and just bring it back with you?
Craft a really powerful spell? What do you mean?
Like craft a spell with a very, very long duration and put it on yourself and then leave?
The base. This was asked in a forum post fairly specifically, and the basic interpretation is that no, you can't.
It only acts that way in astral
It kind of
space.
depends on It kind of depends on what you're trying to do, how I would interpret that. But the basic idea is that, like, if you're casting a spell in effect into another realm that has paradox, you'd basically take the worse. For instance, casting a spell in a demesne that is a sympathetic spell that targets someone out of the demesne will apply the paradox rules for the most paradoxical place.
What if you like go into astral space and use a really long duration, like enhance your own physical, your own mental stats, and then leave?
I'll see if there's been anything else. If the interpretation on that is ironclad, but it might be possible. I'm not sure.
It sounds like you might need a lot of prime to basically transfer the spell with you. But maybe? I don't know what the
Yeah, I'm not
difference,
sure.
the,
Well,
the
if you
meaningful
go to
difference is between your astral entity and your physical one.
If you go to your own Oneros and then enchant your mind and then come out,
Well, I guess the question is,
that's kind of what I was asking.
What-
Yeah, and I'm
are
saying
you
that if
are you in astral space, or are you an avatar of you in astral space?
I'll do the research after the session or at the time that you try to do it in this session, if you try to do it in this session. That's what I'm saying right now. Because, yeah, I think that's it's a persuasive point, but I think you would still probably have to worry about paradox if you were trying to affect your non-astral self as well, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I'm guessing it'd be combinations to increase your.
Well,
I
I
mean,
do
if,
have,
if you're an archmaster of all these different types of arcana, do you really care about that anymore?
Like, there's
yeah. Why
there's
else are
a-
you an archmaster?
there's a current.
No, because you just do that kind of stuff whenever you want. You don't need to actually try to do like sneaky ways about it.
There's a current like mind spell it's called what is it? I can't remember what it's called. But it essentially allows you to project like put yourself in a specific astral realm location, and I'm just wondering if maybe you would need something similar to that, like for Arcana. Like if you're trying to do something with your mind, you would need to be able to bring that magic out of the astral realm with you and place it on your body. So you would maybe need multiple high-level spells to do it, to transfer it.
It sure is a sticky wicket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that it has to go onto your body if it's affecting your mind, but Sure.
This conversation is making me think of a brief Mage of the Ascension anecdote where there was a thing called the digital web, which was a very 90s thing where mages were on the cutting edge of the internet, and they were back when people didn't really understand what the internet was. It was basically a realm in the spirit world, but you got there through virtual reality goggles and spells. And there was like a good spell to like project your consciousness into this other realm. And there was a much more difficult spell where you could physically place your body in there. The benefits of doing the latter were almost none, except that you die for real if you die in your projected form, whereas with the lower version, you just wake up. So, yeah, I think that with the right Arcana, you could physically move your body into astral space, but don't do it. No matter what they say, don't do it. It's a trick. They're trying to kill you.
It's a timeshare.
It's a Freddy Krueger trying to dream kill you.
I thought that's how you defeat Freddy Krueger. You go into his dream world.
Oh god.
Yeah, but I mean, if you don't go in physically, then you can still kill him. I don't know. Never mind. Okay, my point is, so yeah, I'm giving you a lot of like lists of things that you experience there, but basically, like,
Don't fight Freddy Krueger.
when you get to like what they call the dreaming earth proper, you have it's basically a deeply natural place. You can observe a lot of elements in their pure forms. There are a lot of animals, and some you can find like animals that can talk, and talk to them about what it's like to be an animal. Not all of them are all that interested in talking to humans, though.
Most of what you get is just how their balls taste.
Yeah, I mean, they'll basically tell you, like, Fa will basically tell you that, one thing you'll experience there is that getting from one realm to another in the Anima Mundi is basically going through trials. You usually have to go through some sort of real or symbolic struggle. Sometimes it's like, wandering through a hedge filled with thorns, or wrestling with some sort of like elemental form. It's fairly hard. Generally, you'll wind up pushed past your comfort zone or injured.
Mhm.
But they'll basically explain that, like, to get to the like far reaches, the edge basically of the fallen world as we know it, you basically have to ascend past the sky into what is the astral equivalent of outer space.
That sounds a little legitimately terrifying. I'm interested.
Another thing I've neglected to mention, but you would all know, I think intuitively, but Fa would explain kind of how it works. You have to construct what they call an amnion, which is basically an aura around yourself, which takes a form sometimes similar to your nimbus and sometimes specific to your personality or your ideals. So it might be like a corona of energy or a halo, or like they give descriptions like a space suit or some sort of armor. But the basic idea is that this protects you from the ecstatic wind, which is a force that is all around once you cross the Omphalos.
Do you get to choose this?
I mean, you as a player can choose it. I think the idea is that it is something innate that your character is stuck with.
Okay, that's what I.
Yeah. So basically, this wind will kind of harass you periodically throughout your journey, and it's just it is called the ecstatic wind for a reason. It is like highly satisfying to feel. It makes you want to basically embrace it.
Have
But
I
it also
experienced
sort of-
this already?
Yes, this is very similar to Mysteriorum, the second one. I can't remember which.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's the first one. I think it's the first one. But it's... Yes, it does kind of feel like it is trying to break you down. But that feeling of disappearing into the soul of the world, it feels gratifying when it's happening. But basically an amnion is sort of a membrane of your will that stops that from affecting you. And the period with which it affects you gets more frequent the deeper you go. But the basic gist of it is that it's like you have to spend mana to replenish it if your amnion is ever eroded away completely. You'll have enough mana to get through this part of the journey without worrying.
Mm-hmm.
And Fa will warn you that like once you've gone into the whorl, which is what we call the edge, or once you've gone into the sidereal wastes, which is the realm that reflects the vastness of the cosmos, it will come upon you both more frequently and also in a way more slowly, because once you've crossed up into that space, it ceases to pass in the way that you will understand from your experience in the fallen world. You will experience your own actions the same way you would if you were still on Earth, but your agency in deciding those actions is limited to a sort of subjective. Your narrative is subsumed into a sort of cosmic narrative.
Now, just to
That
be
is to
clear,
say, yes.
go. I was gonna say, just to be clear, this is the Fa telling us about this. This is not a place that they're going to take us to on this trip. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Once you go there, and there are ways to get to places fast, I would suggest you study where you wish to go if you ever choose to travel that far.
Mm-hmm.
And be careful what you decide to do, because you'll be bound to your choices. So you could walk from the surface of the earth to the surface of the moon. But even at your most brisk walking pace, it would take you centuries to reach it.
Mhm.
Respective to any companions you would have chosen to come here with, you would merely depart from here and appear on the moon. But you would have experienced the entire journey. Most mages who go into this place half-cocked are irreversibly insane if and when they're ever found again. The wind will only pull at you at the speed that it comprehends, that the wastes comprehend that you're progressing. Each time you decide on something and take an action, you'll feel its pull again. To you, it may seem like a dull sensation that wears you down over the course of 10,000 years as you walk from between. I'm trying to think of something that's 10,000 feet away. You can find ways. You can ride in pathways that.
Top of a mountain.
You can find a thing that will take you from here to Mars in a subjective instant. But you have to be careful. If you come here with the intent to exploit the time properties, you had better be sure that you're capable of accomplishing anything you set your mind to. Because you will. Or you will die or disappear. It's also very worth noting that there are rumors that there are pathways to get to distant stars or other astral bodies in a span of time that would permit the maintenance of one's sanity. But there are also persistent rumors that we are cut off from those parts of the cosmos for a reason.
Can you ever go backwards?
Backwards through time?
Yes. Or is it just too long, maybe? Or
I should say
impossible?
that I have no idea. If I had to make a guess, I'd say becoming a master or archmaster of time would probably be a simpler way to go. But I suppose that might be a question for I don't know, astrophysics and philosophy double major.
So how far have you gone, Fa?
You can find paths to the ocean Ouroboros that will carry you there in a manner that is timely enough to use. That is widely considered to be the farthest place in all of astral space, the closest earthly realm to the supernal, also the closest visible border to the abyss. But as far as true distance relative to the sleeper cosmological interpretations of space. I've been to the surface of Mars and not farther.
It's pretty amazing.
It is something I would encourage any one of you to do if you think that there's some profit to be had, or if you truly desire it.
So Ed, you used a lot of fancy words
I did.
during this scene that I'm not gonna remember almost
Sure.
any of. Is there
Is there an Astral
you know what?
Realms book or something?
There's a book
Yeah,
entitled
I was gonna say
Astral
maybe you
Realms.
could type some of those words out so that we can look them up. And then also, in the game, Hal's interested in learning about this sort of thing, and he would ask if they have something in their own library that I might be able to borrow with this kind of information in it.
Yeah, they would probably allow you to take a look at their library, probably without borrowing anything specifically, to get the full.
This is so Hal gets the same knowledge that Richard gets.
Yeah, I mean, basically they'll let you like do research, but they'll say like there isn't a primer that they can give you that explains all of this as handily as a role-playing game supplement.
Well, I'm glad they described it that way.
They're hip to the kids playing D&D.
Yeah, they're like, I mean, it's not as good as a source book would be, but you know.
It's no skills and powers, let me tell you.
Oh jeez, guys, we could probably start playing I don't know, Traveler pretty soon.
Oh,
I
guys,
don't
we
know
can
what you guys
invent
games come up.
Mage.
How do you know we don't invent Mage?
We ought to get started.
There's some other goofy shit.
Excuse me. I'm trying to think if there are any other really good.
Those are the only two spires, huh?
What was the name of the place again that you mentioned was like close to the abyss that we would have taken the doomsday clock?
Ouroboros?
Right. And what was... Oh, there was a word that you used. It sounded like it started with a U. What's the... I don't know. That's it. You guys are getting it. Sit there. Okay.
You said it started with a what now?
There was one I could have sworn it sounded like it started with a U, but I don't know. There's just a lot of words flying out that I should have just wrote them all down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you direct me to a book that I can read, I'll learn it myself.
Yeah, it's basically full of buzzwords. I didn't even mention chthonic domains or what do you call them?
Or Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, anyway, okay, but yeah, that was supposed to take much less time than it did.
No,
But
I actually
basically-
was hoping that would have been more of a scene, to play out. But I like the, I liked the abridged
I
kind of
want to
informational
basically
version.
come back to it at a time when more people are interested in it, or when it is serving more of a purpose
I
in
think-
the overall story.
Okay, here's the thing. I think that I could have gotten Sostratus on board if I told him that we can manipulate our study time on Arcana if we go here, because time doesn't act the same way, and then he would maybe want to go along so he could get powerful faster. But Hal didn't want to share that information with Sostratus. He wanted that for himself. So I don't think that Sostratus would actually want to come along, like based on the kind of character he's playing. But since we're all kind of getting Arcana to raise up, it really doesn't matter. Now I just kind of want it for the thematic purpose of it.
I'll be back in just 1 second.
Sure. But yeah, since it was talked about, Hal's purpose on going in Astral Journey was so that he could try to spend more time on raising his Arcana, and that was his loophole to raising his Arcana when everybody else was waiting long times to do it.
My plan, the reason I wanted to go on an astral journey is, it sounds really neat.
Well, that's the other thing, yes.
Also, we had heard that there are like entities in the far-flung reaches that are, that you can like have conversations with and that sort of thing.
Right.
And I had wanted to ask some questions and have conversations with them and that sort of thing. Which sounds pretty cool.
No, it does. But
I wasn't planning on exploiting any loopholes.
Grab. No, it's not.
It's pretty loopholey.
I think that this is how maybe even the Fa had done it. And I was prepared to get. Yeah.
I believe there are things that line up with the watchtowers.
I was prepared to go that route, is I guess what I was going at. And also don't forget that if they were going to lead us that far, we would have had to do that deal where we give up like a memory or whatever,
Yeah,
Well,
I was
that is true,
planning
but
on.
it does have to be significant.
I was planning on giving up like I don't know, like my favorite smell.
Whose favorite smell?
I was planning on giving up like to the Fa. They were like, something significant or something. Like, I don't know, they were really vague about it, but I was like, oh yeah, like your favorite color or something. And I was like, I bet I could give up like my favorite smell without missing it too much. It's just a thought I had.
Gunpowder.
I bet
I do.
I'm just thankful I can smell.
Gunpowder, definitely the best smell. Fresh
Smell like
burned gunpowder.
really stinky butt. There you go, jerks.
Mud butt.
Dream Quest. This is not a very long book.
Are you
I'm in the
Talking
Astral
about
Realms
this one?
book.
Oh,
Mud butt.
I'm trying to find out what the what the creatures or the place was where I thought there were like when you get like deep down into like the wastes area or whatever.
Yeah.
That the there's like the like watchtower representations or something like that. You can like.
Which kind of
I wanted to go see that.
That's what I was talking about with the right Arcanum. I can actually take you to the different areas of the astral realms. Well, not. I don't know if I can with the new spells, but in the old ones, there's like a spell that does it.
But yeah, anyway,
It's called
that's part of the
climbing
reason that.
Climbing the Tree, Journey to an Astral Realm representing Arcana's purview. It takes Mind 4 and 3 of it, so I could only take you to the Time Place. That'd be pretty cool.
Or the Mind Place.
Or the Mind Place.
excuse me.
How about a different one?
No, actually, I think that would be really amazing if you could go to. If it does represent time most closely, you might be able to, like, cut through space or some sort of dimension to walk through it. You might be able to, like, just do some, like, tricked out shit.
So Zeus,
Like, it's a different.
during the downtime period, I imagine you're probably still seeing Polaris regularly. Okay. Yeah, I guess fairly near the end of the span of months, should be near the end of June. The downtime, in theory, if it's 6 months, is going to be ending around this time of year. So everybody get your ready your bodies for hot and humid. But yeah, she'll basically inform you that that the council has made a decision about a certain matter, and that she wanted to let you know, but that she's not personally going to be bringing anything to you because she doesn't want she doesn't want to seem improper. But that there is basically something that is up that you should be expecting, in a day or two. Oh yeah, I guess Rory's alerted me that the Persian Gulf War is starting, I guess. So everybody get down with that.
Just saying that, if we're tying it into real world events,
I seriously
and the downtime is starting right around the time of when this is.
Now, how does that affect Chicago for a 20 or younger year old?
Some people are going to the war.
Probably doesn't. No.
If you see anybody who looks like they might be from the Persian Gulf, you probably hate their guts.
Neat.
Excuse me. Within
I guess I'm racist now.
well, I mean, you might not be racist, but come on, it's the 80s.
That is true. Inherent racism.
Yeah.
You're as racist as I do cocaine, so maybe a little.
Did you just say I'm as racist as you?
That is a terrible comparison.
Yeah, Jeff. Basically, in the
I figured you were out of your cocaine phase, so.
I was going to try to make a cocaine joke because of things that seem more appropriate when it's the 80s, but I just stopped because I couldn't come up with one. And instead of coming up with one, you just.
Oh.
All right, game's over, guys. Taking my Barbies and going home. Okay, you would get contacted by Durga within a day or two. She is you've met her before. She's the provost for the Guardians. So, in other words,
Durga.
works directly under Janice. Um, yeah, she'll. Let me see. We're not in Astral anymore, so we can change the music.
It's a really cool song.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I like it.
This is the song of my people.
Are the
Go back
Fa
to
your
this.
people? Are you
Yeah.
their grandfather? You're their collective grandfather.
She'll
I birthed all of them.
ask you there's a certain prisoner that the council has had in custody for a long time now. A number of months. She's been fairly peaceful. Not at all aggressive. We've been treating her relatively well for the sake of safety and simplicity, but we've sort of been working on trying to get information out of her, and there was some question about improper activities that she undertook without really realizing their significance. I'm wondering if you've heard anything about this. This might have gotten out through the grapevine. I'm not sure who all knows. He probably did. I'm not strictly in the loop on this. I'm appointed with this because the council is dealing with this more or less directly, and because Janice didn't want to go finding you himself. If there was some communication, it might have been absorbed at some level or another. She would have met you in person if possible.
This is Dargo.
Yeah, she's a guardian. She was the one who was with you when you found Joseph in the basement of Maharal's. She shares a cabal with Shiva and Kali, who Kali is perpetually absent, and Shiva's a bearded man guy. Yeah, she'll. Well, as far as I understand it, she was originally apprehended because she maybe, I don't remember exactly what they said she did, but she broke into a site that is being studied by Quartermain and his people, El Diplomo. And I'm not sure what exactly she did there, but she certainly wasn't welcome. She didn't hurt any of them, as far as I know, but they were quite afraid of the power she was slinging around. Someone was able to pacify her and turn her over to the council. And she's been fairly peaceful ever since. But to hear them describe it, she has asked on more than one occasion, basically the entire time she's been confined, to speak with Michael Hartley, whom she believes is responsible for her awakening. What do you mean? Oh, geez, I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but as far as I understand the situation, the council has been ignoring that request of hers summarily because of how conveniently crazy it sounds to claim that, how exactly within the scope of normal mundane insanity it is to claim someone talked to you from TV and that it had a profound effect on your mind. It's like it's like that guy who shot Reagan, I guess. Did that happen already? God, this is a time thing. Well, it's the Concilium is not going to say that granting a sleeper an awakening was a mistake. The Constance might criticize your due diligence insofar as this might not have been an ideal candidate, but it's not for me to say that this isn't someone who awakened regardless of your efforts and actions, and that isn't really what's at issue here. It's they're not, they, the council, are not really that concerned with what really happened. At this point, they've waited this long because they thought that something would eventually break or change in her, and she's more or less remained steadfast that she wants to speak with you and she's willing to wait. They think that if you talk to her, they might be able to get some information about her origins that she's only willing to divulge to you. Um, well, I think we'll be in touch then. I don't know all of the details, and they might want to keep those a little closer under guard. But it sounds like she's just not normal. If what the information that I've heard suggests that if she is a banisher, she's one of the most clever we've encountered because she's given no indication. Their disease often seems to manifest quite deliberately. It's almost hard for them to turn it off. How much they hate and despise other mages. She doesn't seem to have a problem with them. She doesn't seem... I haven't spoken to her directly, but it sounds like she just seems alternatingly perfectly quaint and completely profound. If you want my opinion, Iblis is holding the reins of this woman's fate very tightly. It seems to me that there are very few possibilities for outcomes that Constance would find favorable if he gets something out of it that he wants. But all things considered, I can think of a lot of ways that this could go that wouldn't reflect poorly on you. And a few very key ones that probably would. It's a mystery. It's a source of intense power. It's a source of possible strife for the Concilium. I can't think of anything in that array that Iblis wouldn't find attractive. Janice is the counselor for the Guardians. All right. Well, I'll see if we can't be in touch about particulars. Alrighty. Yeah, she'll take her leave.
Do not encourage that
Lee.
behavior.
Do I have Lee or is he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was muted. I just had to find a little daily bopper to unmute myself.
Oh, Bopper found. Big Bopper. Excuse me.
I feel like I should turn on a light in here, but at the same time, cheese it.
While you're attending to some of your spirit duties, you will
That's gross.
shut up. You'll on the night on the night of the full moon in the month of June, there
Shit. All the good stuff starts with rhyming.
you will gradually start to notice you may or may not recall they're called Iralunim. They're
Yes.
moon spirits that they're extremely discreet, almost to the point of being invisible. They will shift forms to look like mundane objects, and they sort of tend to, well, they had tended to follow you for a span of time.
Mhm.
You'll start to notice several of them appearing to tail you, and what is conspicuous about it after a while is that they're normally very discreet, and you are noticing them quite prominently because there seem to be quite a few of them in your midst.
They had only tailed me before, like, in very small, like, one or two at a time, and they were always being, like, real sly about it.
That's true.
Yeah, how big does the crowd get? Is this while I'm in shadow or not?
You're probably in material world with
Sure.
the ability to see in shadow at this point.
Yeah, how big does the crowd get?
I mean, it never gets above like 6 to 8.
That's still a pretty big number of practically any kind of spirit, as far as I'm concerned, unless it's like cockroaches or
Sure.
rats or something. Yeah, I guess. What time of day is it, or is it
This
night?
is-
You said it was
yeah,
full
night.
moony. Yeah, I would try to get to, I guess, a park or something like that with a very open like area, like a prominent like hill or something like that. It's not obscured by trees or something.
Yeah.
And I just walk up to the top of it and sit down and just sort
Yeah,
of.
Before you have a chance to sit, you'll see an object incoming from above you.
Sure.
It is in shadow, or actually, it is in twilight.
Oh, I can't go to Twilight, but I can.
You can see spirits.
I can see it. Yeah.
Um,
I was gonna say if it was in shadow, I could go meet it there because I can do that now. But
that's good too. Hence, yeah, it'll as it approaches, you'll see it takes shape as it gets closer to you, and it is clearly a humanoid form with shining, polished white armor, and it has wings that sort of look like moonbeams that are shooting out of its shoulders. You've seen a spirit like this, if not this exact one, before.
yeah, when I
It's
made a desperate plea,
sure this is a.
I don't remember what they're called. I don't remember what the
think
moon
it's-
spirits were called.
Pretty sure it's Ralunim. Yeah, it's it will sort of land in the grass a few 10 feet or so away from you. As it lands, the other spirits will sort of form a circle around you, and they will grow up to its height and take a shape that looks more or less just like it, with the armor and sword and wings, except their faces are all still shadowed.
Sure. So they look like they're like mimicking it.
Right.
So they are in shadow and it is in Twilight. Is that correct? Or are they also in Twilight?
They're all in.
They're all in Twilight. Sure.
Basically, as yeah. This isn't meant to be a logic puzzle. It's
No, I was just curious. I'm
consistent.
trying to make sure I can address them all
Sure.
if I need to. Yeah, I'll say well met.
Yes, of course. Are you ready for your task?
I am eager.
We have need of you.
Helicopters.
I'm sorry, what was that?
We have a helicopter problem because there's a hotel right next to us that has a helicopter pad right on top of it, and
Of course it does.
sometimes that happens.
God damn it, and my rocket launcher is empty.
Like, no sooner does Ed finish saying that sentence, and the government that's been spying on him just storms into his basement.
But which government?
All of the government.
Federal. Yeah, it was mostly feds. It's a good one. Yeah, he'll
The ones who storm in,
That's how you get brownie points. It's a good one.
black bagged.
he will yes, we will, if you're prepared to discharge your debt to my matron,
I'll give a little nod.
we have need of one of your kind to bind, banish, or in some way destroy an entity which has eluded us.
Do you know the name of this entity? Or its location? Or its general location, if it's eluded you?
The name it goes by in shadow is Gamagur. Its location is unknown.
assumedly somewhere in the city of Chicago, or one of the adjacent realms.
Yes, its influences have been felt in this area. It is quite formidable in strength, but it appears that its strength and its activity increase in their scope and intensity when the moon is new. Our fighting strength is at its lowest, and in those periods, such as tonight, when the choir of fury is in its power, it is well hidden.
Does it act specifically against you? Or against your matron?
My matron's vendetta against this being relates to an earlier incident in which it was held in captivity for some eons and permitted to escape along a channel long left dormant, but reawakened by your kind some short years ago.
Be right back.
I see. Oh my god, that helicopter. I'll, the people I consort with are also very skilled at dealing with physical or threats they can get their hands on. If we can so much as find it, I have no doubt that we can lay it to rest.
I would use caution and strategy when facing this threat.
We have some time before the moon is new. Hopefully we will be able to gain information about it during that time.
This is the Stratus's wet dream.
Stratus is like, is that a monster? Because I've never headshotted a legitimate monster.
I have no clue what's going on because I was gone.
We need for you to ensure that the threat it poses will be neutralized and that it can be exiled or confined or, if possible, permanently destroyed. But in the interest of requiring that you be thorough, we have no need for you to dispatch this creature by the next new moon. We will permit you 12 turnings of the moon before such time as a failure to accomplish this task in full will be considered a failure to discharge her debt.
That's fair. I will see it done.
I would warn you that Gamagur is one of what my matron calls Idigam.
That word sounds familiar in a not good way.
I'm told your kind has another name, or perhaps more than one, for them. But they represent spirits from a time before time when presences of those things which did not become a part of creation were still alive. And those that could be banished were banished, and many of them came into the keeping of Luna. When your kind bridged the gap, some of their essences were able to escape through a new channel created between her realm and yours. Some of those that were freed were dealt with some short years after their escape by others of Luna's children. Your people's responsibility in this is among the reasons why this task was selected for you, and your possible power to work miracles in this situation is not overlooked either.
I look forward to righting this wrong on Luna's behalf.
If you can, I would be glad to see you succeed.
Yeah, Cypress will smile broadly.
The lesser spirits will start to dissipate and reform into sneakier and discreeter forms. And he
Start
will,
disguising themselves as shrubs and trash cans.
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu.
He will, yes, nod his head to you.
I'll nod back.
Fare thee well. And he will begin to ascend, look up into the sky, and sort of dart off straight up.
Yeah, Cypress will let out a sort of a long sigh and then, I don't know, find a tree and smoke a cigarette, probably.
Okay.
I would not trust a guy that just kibbers out and says, "Fare thee well."
He does have moonlight angel wings and a
And he's
glowing
kinda
sword and armor.
Trying to sound like a guy who's not human, trying to talk like a human talks.
Admittedly, I started that conversation with "well met" because I thought that it seemed
Well
appropriate to use old timey terminology with a guy who's wearing a legitimate
Hi,
armor.
and well met, traveler. Forsooth, where doth thou goest in thine underbreeches?
Pants land.
Alright.
It's my favorite store. I love Pantsland. Yeah, I guess. I would probably approach the cabal in some sort of group situation with with this problem that I have acquired.
Been gifted.
Been gifted, yes. That's why I said acquired and not.
You
Well,
have to use positive reinforcement for us to do it.
to get behind this, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mention, but when Idigamar mentioned, Clover is afraid of that word.
Yeah, Cypress would probably, she was trying to put on, a brave front, but she would have been, visibly a little nerve-wracked after that meeting. I like to think that if a being of that caliber seemed concerned about its strength, that it would be foolish to ignore that sort of warning. But yeah, no, she would try to get the cabal's attention. I guess Hal's not here, so I could probably wait a little bit until Hal is here, because that beehole is missing.
In the meanwhile, some other previously,
In the meanwhile, in the Iran-Iraq border conflict,
elsewhere in the Persian Gulf, uh,
an air-to-sea missile is currently attacking a U.S.-based ship.
so Barassus, are you there?
Yeah, can you not hear me?
No, I just see. I don't see you there. I see a weird
yeah,
beard
I'm
guy
here.
grasping his bald dome.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Oh, yeah, so you're mainly kind of keeping a low profile and
Process is
attending shop and such.
yeah, contemplating some stuff, maybe not. He's been
Okay.
kind of keeping a little hidden from his mentor recently.
Keeping a what now?
He's just been not going to his mentor for a while he's just been working on his
Sure.
mind stuff.
During the downtime period, we'll call it pretty close to the end, where most of these things are happening. In the these are, I guess, webisodes, is what we'll call them.
Got it.
Um,
I'm on board.
you'll receive a visitor in your shop, someone who you can who you will recognize right away. She is a very conspicuously attractive woman who shows up at some of the Guardians of the Veil gatherings, who goes by the shadow name of Kali.
Okay.
Yeah, and she'll
Okay. I remember something from her. Is she a questionable one? Did someone say that she was kind of bad?
Yeah, you don't really remember.
Okay.
She'll yeah, come in and kind of make sort of a show of like looking at some things on shelves, and yeah, kind of taking in the general ambiance of your shop.
How old is she?
She looks like somewhere in her 20s or early 30s, probably.
Sure. See anything you like?
She'll sort of grin a little bit when you say that. There are a lot of things in here that I like well enough. You find that you're rather happy to see her in spite of yourself.
Okay. Process will
Sorry about that. I'm back.
Would you habitually keep any magical sensory effects up?
since it doesn't cost any mana to do mind, I would probably keep mind up.
Yeah.
That's
I
it.
mean,
He doesn't really wear that stuff.
you can tell right away when she sort of starts grinning at you that she's got mind effects working around her that you can tell that your any suspicion you might have is subtly being hedged out by general attraction and good company, with the use of the subtlest mind magic possible. You can Basically, you can keep tabs on which of your emotional strings are being pulled, or you can try to defend yourself against them. But at least with just your basic sensory powers, you can kind of tell that this is a little bit of a magical social facilitator.
Sure. He's gonna say, we haven't even. I'm not gonna do anything about it right now. I'm just gonna pay attention to what's happening with the mind magic, and
Sure.
he's gonna say, we haven't. You haven't even talked to me about it, and I see that we're already haggling.
He's. It seems like
So, what do you want to buy?
all you men ever think about is haggling, making deals, brokering contracts and bargains. It's a little much, don't you think?
Oh, you don't become rich and powerful without it.
You're powerful?
Well, was. I have my
Yeah.
name in books and everything.
In books. Well, they haven't written all of the books. Who knows who's going to be in the most?
It helps if you can buy the publishers.
We're getting a little over the top. I had something I was hoping to talk to you about.
I know that.
Well,
So
obviously I'm here. All right. I heard through a certain grapevine that you had some experiences with a creature, entity.
That is common. Could you be more specific?
Of course. Called a Grigori.
And where did you hear this from?
It's not important.
Oh yeah, it is.
Well, to me it is.
Well, there are certain channels. Let's say that I heard it from Shiva. I'm sure that this does not tell you what you want to know. But in the interest of skillfully dodging questions like this, I didn't ask him where he heard it.
Sure. Well, since Shiva knows, I suppose, that I possibly have had interactions with one. Why do you ask? Also, does anyone else?
I've seen it too, is why I ask.
Is that by your own choosing, or is that
No, I think not. Aside from the fact that it's a fairly unsettling specimen, it does not bode well for somebody who likes for things to go nicely.
well, I can see.
You can see what now?
I can see that about you. He's
You
just
could go
gonna
on.
make vague references to the magic that she put up.
Well,
So And you came here for solace, some sort of
Well,
negotiation agreement?
there you go again. You can't just tell me what kind of trouble I'm in out of the goodness of your heart.
Are you in trouble? You maybe, if you're like me, are possibly minorly annoyed.
Well, it's not. It's not the sort of thing that just drifts through your life like a tumbleweed. It looks for things, it sees things, and when it sees them, or so I'm told, it reports to someone or something, and that thing or person sees them too.
That is good to know.
Just a sec. Yeah? Okay. Gotcha. My oven is set to self-clean, so I shouldn't worry if it smells like the house is burning down. Yeah, she'll,
Maybe it's just a bit of that macho-ness getting through again.
well, if you're a hard customer, I'm always willing to make a deal, but I was hoping that I might be able to learn more about anything you might have found about who's pulling strings or why you might have come under scrutiny, and if I can avoid doing things to avoid said scrutiny.
Well, I will give you this one for free, and
She'll smile.
I don't know. Not 100% anyway. You don't have to believe me. But,
Now, why would you say that?
I don't know. Maybe it sounds more trusting.
It
Now you
sounds like
will.
you're lying when you say that I don't have to believe you. Of course I don't have to believe you.
I like to think that I'm a very trusting individual. You'll smile.
Well, I'm glad that you're trusting. I'm not saying that you don't trust me.
Trustworthy, maybe.
That's the one I was looking for, and I don't quite seem to have found it. I like you, Brassus. Well, that's not important right now. I just was hoping for a little help. And, of course, there are paths of compensation that are always negotiable.
What I ask for compensation is you telling me what you know.
Well, I thought that you knew that it was an agent that was sent out to perform surveillance and report back to some governing entity.
I know that it is surveillance,
Sure. The
but a governing
prevailing wisdom
entity.
is that it is something unique to the Seers of the Throne.
Oh, that's
Um,
interesting.
Everything I've been able to dig up about them seems to imply that it is, of all things that it is nearest to a ghost, but it certainly isn't one.
Yep.
And it's not in particular a psychic projection either, but it is fairly close to that as well. It isn't a spirit, we know that. I use the general we the Pentacle have come to suspect that that they're created with some kind of an artifact and some kind of a host. We don't believe that the host needs to be willing.
Oh. You seem to know much more than I do.
All right. Well, I'm not really looking for the technical specifications of the thing. I'm looking for the why and wherefore of my particular situation.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, so I can try to figure it out. The problem is that, given limited data, I do not know if it is after me or someone else, or if it is connected to something that I have on me or someone near me has. It's interesting that you came to me because up until now I wasn't entirely convinced that I was the victim in this.
And
It
now
has-
you are?
Well, it is more so. It has shown up in other locations. And I'm curious if possibly when I wasn't around, and maybe you were there instead, or maybe it just really likes me.
Maybe we have something in common. She'll sort of grin.
What do you think that is?
Who knows? For all you've been able to give me, it may very well not even be you. I was sort of on the fence about whom to ask, but I knew where to find you on a regular day, so I decided to try here first.
Ed,
Yes.
was Kali at the fight when the thing showed up with, I think, Drano? Because I think it showed up and I wasn't there.
She
Or was
wasn't.
that a different fight? Okay.
She hasn't really been around in any scenes that you guys have been involved in a while.
Yeah, I didn't think so. But
Was
I
she
wasn't
there
there,
for
so
the
I didn't
scene when
know.
we left the concilium meeting? And
Not
then
really on
we
the
saw it
scene.
at the end. Okay.
She was in the building in theory, or actually, I don't even remember if she was at that particular meeting. She's occasionally absent.
Well,
Well, don't trouble yourself over much on my account. If there's something related to this that we can work out together, we should certainly talk.
well, I'm interested in talking whenever you'd want to.
Of course you are.
Now is fine.
Well,
A
you don't
later
really seem
date.
to have explored the possibilities, or perhaps you're concerned and don't want to share for fear that your worst guesses might be true. Either way, I don't want to waste too much of your time or mine just idly speculating. And who knows, if the two of us stay together for too long, maybe it'll sneak up on us.
What?
Braz is gonna look around when she says that.
Yeah,
Maybe
she'll
Is it
sort
some
of,
of
is it
these
around?
blankets.
she'll sort of just kind of wheel her eyes around, almost mockingly.
Does it come to you at important times, and how many times has it come to you?
Don't worry about it. I think I need to be going.
She's just gonna kind of lift an eyebrow.
Yeah, she'll sort of start to slowly make her way toward the door.
Sure. We thank you for your patronage.
She'll sort of pause at the threshold and, without turning back to look at you, she'll say, "Be safe, Barasis," and she'll push her way out the door.
Sure. Alright. Brazos is gonna finish his day up there.
Okay.
Maybe talk to Zeus a little later.
Jesus.
Zeus. Yeah,
Alright.
I will talk to Zeus at some point.
Let's see here. Yeah, so Stratus was planning to do some scrying to keep tabs on Capone, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Some scrying and some physical watching of places he is likely to be.
In the entire time, in the entire downtime, you will have a hard time scrying on him successfully. You'll probably be able to get a lock on him a couple of times, but it seems like you're pretty quickly aware that whoever is warding the place where he is you would guess they're becoming aware that he is the target of this continual observation, and their countermeasures will start to get prohibitive, sort of redundant wards and various types of you'll find interference on sympathetic bonds, and probably about halfway through the downtime you'll not be able to get him again, most likely, unless you have some additional secret technique. You'd basically guess that whoever is working on keeping him hidden is possibly more powerful than you, but more than likely more than one person, exerting a considerable amount of effort.
Yeah, no, see, Stratus is actually kind of happy with that result. If he's making multiple people do concerted effort to stop something as minor as that, then he is making the enemy use more resources than he is using, and he will keep at it. Just a psychological warfare.
Sure.
And if he can occasionally break through, it's enough to keep up that kind of paranoia on them.
Right.
Your persistence is impressive and also tremendously annoying.
Yeah, plus once they figure out that he's not the real target, they're going to be really disappointed that they defended him so much.
And
That guy does not want to get shot in the head.
He's like, why do you keep walking around with those goggles?
Where do you keep wearing a pith helmet everywhere you go?
your head smells like pith. Guys, it's a pith joke.
Mhm.
I just like to announce every time I make a joke, just in case it didn't get as much laughter as it was owed.
Oh, we know your ammo. It's all good.
Yes. Guys, you owe me a debt of laughter.
Raucous applause.
I should have an applause sign in this chat window somewhere. All right. Let me see here. Okay. So we sort of we mostly have gone through downtime activities in this session. Is there anything else that anybody specifically was going to do or wanted to know the possible results of during a span of downtime?
I just want to
Go ahead.
Zeus about something really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask Zeus, what that lady, how that lady was enlightened, or what happened to her, the crazy lady. Because since Barasis was on the trip with the other people, he had this really crazy thought that maybe she traveled too far in the astral realm or something, or her mind was warped like that. Yeah.
Think
What's
like a
the-
crossword puzzle in the newspaper.
What's the one called?
Is I mean, what type of magic is she familiar with? Prime is correct. Horses. Okay. Sure. The thought just got into my head a little bit, and I was trying to make some connections.
Oopsie.
And the other thing was I talked to Kali, and out of character, it's been a while. Was she the one that we got information from Greybeard about, that she was kind of a super seer or like a pseudo seer or something, or questionable? For some reason that is popping into my head.
I don't think it was Greybeard. I think it was the scroll,
Oh,
wasn't it?
That does sound correct. More
okay.
correcter than Greybeard, anyway.
I mean, Greybeard actually doesn't know anything. We just feel like we're doing something right for him.
I thought that we had tried to get information about seers, and then someone had said that Kali was something like that.
I thought
And I can't remember what it was.
No, you're on the right track. It was something up to that It was something that led us to believe that
Okay.
Kali was compromised or something like that.
Okay. And okay, given that knowledge, then process is gonna say, and she just came to talk to me about also being tracked by the Grigori, and she gave some good information on it. That she thinks, from what she understands, it's mainly a Seer's device, and yeah, but she wants to work together about it. I'm just interested because I think we might need to look more into it, and I probably should have been working more at it. I thought I did pretty well, but given our library, but maybe I need to dig deeper or have more connections. Wow.
Low or
Leopold.
Leopold. Okay. Well, yes, she could be a mercenary. It's an interesting concept. Well, sure. Well, yes, I would like to work with her anyway. She's also a bit of a mind mage. So we'll see how that comes up later. Boy, that depends on Ed.
There are a couple of angles I was considering going with that. It kind of depends on some things, but we'll, for the sake of resolving this session, we'll say that some progress has been made, and a little bit more will still need to be made to find someone.
Well, there is something that I want to call to attention before we close up
I've got some feelers in.
that I think we should all think about during the downtime. And it's something that we didn't touch on that I mentioned before, but the Khufu situation, are we powerful enough to do something with that now? We've been studying for some time. And this is for Barasas.
I can read the depths now and enter his subconscious.
Is the plan still to try to erase his memories so that his ghost does not bring them along?
Barasas's plan, I think, which is what he has said before, is that he wants to see what is in Khufu's mind, and if he can successfully get everything from it, and he sees no questionable motives, or something that would make him a danger to us, then he's not worried about killing him.
I think
But
we've
as he's a
already
mage-
I think we've already determined that he is a danger to us with just the minimal information that we absolutely know that he knows.
We don't want any of that information finding its way into the hands of those debt dealers that he consorted with.
It's been a long time, and I just want to make sure that we have the same game plan still. We're all on the same page. Is it that we kill him and kill his ghost, or that we kill him when his mind is purged of anything that we feel is a threat?
Yep,
Yeah, I don't think we need to kill him.
that is what the Guardians were at least on board with.
I am
Oh,
also
I
on
don't-
board with it.
I
mean-
actually don't think I've ever heard this plan. So
I don't
as in
remember
Richard.
this plan also.
So yeah, I don't know if you guys
Oh,
talked about
we
this outside
talked
of
about
the-
it.
No, we talked
Nope,
about
we
it.
talked about it in the game. I
pre-game.
very
Yeah.
distinctly remember.
I don't remember talking about this in game at all. But I
Sure
didn't
did.
live.
Well, that being said, I'm okay with that plan.
I'm not
I'm
the only one who doesn't remember it, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, I might have just been away. I don't know. But I that's why I'm asking these questions, because it's been a very long time. I want to make sure that. I mean, I already killed him. So whatever you guys want to do, you can ask Ed. I sent him secret messages. So really, we gotta just figure out what to do about this ghost. I got a couple extra points of mana out of him. Well, okay.
The problem
thing
is that dead. if
That
our-
also poses
if,
problems.
If Khufu's plan, I say or not Khufu's, if Rhodes's idea of going into his astral space and murdering his memories doesn't pan out, we have to figure out something else, because killing him is a faster way of putting that information into the hands of those
Right. Did in
guys.
And,
So, I
and
mean,
agree with that.
I
if-
thought the plan was to drag his mind to the Ouroboros and throw all of his thoughts into Ouroboros.
That would require him to spend a willpower, which I'm not sure that would fly so well.
Well,
Unless.
okay. Well, without getting too far off, is Barasas
far
able to do any kind of astral travel into? Or I'm sorry, maybe astral travel is not necessary, but is he able to do anything
I can
with the
astral
situation more now than he was able to before?
Yep.
Pretty sure he
Because-
can drag us right to Khufu's, what do you call it, his Oneros if he wanted to.
I mean,
can
okay,
astral
just-
travel into his mind. I can subconsciously read the depths.
Mhm.
Yes.
The reason I'm asking,
Ed,
now I'm going
you
to get to
can-
the reason I'm asking is because we keep talking about getting a new recruit in, and I would much rather get a new recruit in when we don't have a guy living in the basement.
Do you mean when we don't have two guys living in the basement?
Well, to be fair,
One is alive though.
yeah.
Well, and the thing is
Wow,
that
I'm glad that we're going
I remember
straight
that
up
part of the
moral
conversation.
ambiguity on our new recruit.
no. Here's the thing: is that I actually remembered you saying that, and we don't have to have such a narrow search. If we deal with this problem now, we can get any new recruit. Is everybody following what I'm saying?
No,
here?
I agree. I think sooner than later
Yeah.
seems like the good plan here.
All right. Yeah. Well, I think we need to start trying
Cool.
because I don't see any other pressing matters right now, and that is the one that I'm dealing with every week.
So I'm just trying to make sure. The thing we're trying to do is erase everything he knows,
Yep,
and
by
then
going into his
if
own
he-
Eros
and
purging
then
it.
the Guardian's plan is apparently to release him back into the wild, and say good luck. We think that when he dies, he won't have those memories anymore for the death servants to.
We are
explain.
led to believe that his
And-
ghost only retains the memories that he actually had. If those memories are gone, then he doesn't have them, and neither does his ghost.
I was asking Ed more than anything else. That is what
Oh.
we have researched and believe.
I'm sorry. Which part of that was the question?
That if he no longer has those memories when he dies, that his ghost will not have them either, and that therefore the death creatures can't exploit it.
Yeah, it sort of seems like
The best guess.
Well,
you're
I mean,
most,
we did
you're most
research on it.
powerful, and the understanding you have is that well, yeah, I mean, your ghost is at best a fairly good facsimile of the consciousness of the living person. It does not bear out that they would reset to some earlier state. They would be more or less a reflection of some degree of paleness of the person who died.
Well, and to also put that into what we've actually witnessed, almost every ghost that I've tried to have conversation with it's like pulling teeth to get just the simplest of stuff. I have to heal their mind just to get things that they might have remembered in real life or in their living. That's true.
The question I asked in chat was also an actual question. If you use ban from space 3 and prohibit a phenomenon under an arcana of purview, death, can you make it so an area cannot have death happen?
I really doubt it.
Okay, because one of the reach, it says add an arcanum to exclude one or more phenomena under the arcanum's purview from the spell, or prohibit the phenomenon under the arcanum's purview from occurring. Is what it seems like it's saying.
Yeah, I mean, I might.
Which is really weird.
I might consider some form of that at I'm not sure what level or what amount of reach it would need to be, but I think what you're talking about is some kind of conceptual lockdown, whereas I would maybe consider letting you have something where it would halt one death before the effect was exhausted. So stop one mortal wound from killing that person, and but what you're talking about, I think, is probably outside of levels 1 through 5 Arcana to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out from the ban spell that you posted. It is if you can't do conceptual stuff, it doesn't seem to work since it's totally conceptual in theory.
It's not. I mean, material stuff is quite obviously.
It's only for material stuff.
Well, no, I'm saying that
when you're
I'm
in
saying
a
that
bad
it makes
space,
perfect sense for material stuff. I'm saying that when you get into conceptual things like like banning liars. You couldn't, use mind to like ban a liar. Well,
You could.
I don't know. I mean, you could maybe say to. You see, I don't even know.
Couldn't you use like mind and fate to ban someone who is lying, or someone who has a strong lyingness in their fate?
But I think
I
that
don't even think you need paid for that, honestly.
Well, a lot of
all you need is a gun for that. You
in
can
the
just
current
ban them from
conception,
everything
a lot
with
of the
a gun.
triggered stuff requires fate, and that's why I thought about that.
I think that like. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's hard to say that conceptual stuff is forbidden, but to say I have death, I ban death, that is just a bridge too far.
Okay.
I'm not positive, but like.
Well, I'm
That's
sure
just kind of my read on it.
I'm sure it's going to come up soon if we get into gameplay. Things like can
Because
you
you're
use
going to do it.
can you use telepathy into and out of a banned area? That would be a conceptual thing, not a physical thing. Can you attack people's mind while you're in a banned space?
And that I think kind of goes to you with space, you can do anything into and out of a banned space unless it's banned against space.
Well, I mean, you could make a ban that is only to stop mental attacks. Then,
Sure.
for example, if you can, or if you, but if you can't do that. And that's why I'd like to know how that works for planning,
Okay.
because it really the two different versions are very, very different for how I'd use it.
Well, try to tell me, when one of these ideas gets into your head, because I'm not going to allow you to ban death.
Oh, right, okay.
But
I
might allow
understand
you
that.
to
I'm
ban
fine
mental
with that.
attacks, probably.
Okay.
If you have the prep to set that up, I would probably allow it.
Can I ask one more question about banning?
No.
I'm
Okay.
gonna need to read that
I'll
text.
allow it.
That's
Ban
all
does
again.
not seem to have a description of its area.
Mm-hmm.
Since it's a space spell, can you
I thought-
make its area non-contiguous?
I thought ban was something you could place on a ward.
Nope. Ban is a separate
not
spell.
anymore.
It's in the practice of weaving.
This is the new shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
he posted it on Facebook. So, like, can you have a non-contiguous one ban across stuff?
I mean, like, I'll have to kind of see what you mean by that, but I think that I don't think that I'd have to read it again, but like most area effect levels list a radius and a volume. I would probably let you shape the volume to a certain extent instead of just going for a big wide area. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not sure if there is anything in the existing rules that specifically allows or forbids that.
Okay, a more realistic thing that I would actually want to ban in the area. It specifically says, for example, air and light as examples of things that you can ban or allow through specifically.
Yep.
Could you then use kinetic energy as something to ban or let through only? Since that seems similar to light.
I mean, maybe. I'm not. I would have to take a little while to consider, ideally with your own help, what that would mean exactly. I guess I feel like you're describing objects in motion, whereas I guess it's one of those things like when you get more granular, the system more or less says you're talking about a different phenomenon now. Whereas, like, the agitation of particles in the air is kinetic and it causes heat, but you're not banning heat, you're banning kinetic energy. I guess if you want something that stops bullets or people walking or objects that fall off of shelves from entering the area, that probably would be possible.
Okay. Yeah, the problem with Mage is it doesn't get into the science of transferal of energy very well, and that's fine.
It specifically can't, because you reach a point really quick where you're basically saying I mean, you reach a point with forces, especially, I guess, forces and matter, where you're trying to do stuff that belongs to other arcana real
Right.
quick.
Right.
And they're trying to keep them discreet enough. Like, well, I have enough mastery of electricity that I can control your thoughts because I can control the electrical impulses in your brain. And you're like,
Right.
well, that isn't really your powers, but yeah. So pretty much, I'll reread Ban in detail and try to make sure I understand it so that I can.
Right. Sorry to take up
That's no
time.
problem.
It was bothering me, and it was something that I do plan on using heavily, if possible, and if it works anywhere near where I think it works.
You could ban rat dung from a wheat truck. Why are you talking about wheat? Have you been having problems with dung in your wheat, homie? How are you
except-
going
Oh,
to
no,
get
rat hairs.
Couldn't
and
you
have-
everything?
Except
With
Because
the
I
same
use
level,
magic.
couldn't you ban anything that wasn't wheat from the truck?
I don't think you
Basically?
I don't think you know what you're doing when you take the rat dung out of the wheat. It affects the whole like ecosystem there. I mean, the properties of that wheat is going to change. You can't
Yeah,
just
you-
do that.
Can't
I'd
even
like to
have
note that-
Budweiser anymore.
That using ban on my kitchen to stop plates from breaking sounds pretty great. All the plates together
Ban the
forever.
state of plates breaking from your kitchen.
I'm
That's
still
it.
kinda hung up
You
on
know what?
this.
I'm gonna walk around with all this magic on me and not be able to cast spells because I just don't want any plates in my kitchen breaking.
We're just kind of
You know,
know,
hung up on
it's
this.
all about
Going-
priorities at that point.
Yeah.
And he's going to drop a bowl by accident, like a
Maybe just-
glass one, and it's just going to shatter.
Maybe Lee's just like a homemaker, and he's just like, I can't. Or he's like
You
a
know, if Cypress
Should have included glasses.
if Cypress had matter, then she could just make all her plates just stronger, and they would never break anyways.
For what it's
Yeah,
worth,
but he can
Probably
also
stab people
ban
with them.
them.
eventually, after I get 2 more time, maybe I'll consider getting some matter too, so that I can make some really wicked sweet fetishes. But
Matter
that's-
also or matter two?
Are you planning on getting fate right now? Is what you were doing, and then you're
I
gonna
have
get
fate of
time,
2.
and then you're gonna get matter.
Right now, I have Spirit of 4, Fate of 2, Life of 2, and Space of 2.
I find it kind of
Time 2 is my
fascinating.
next one.
In the game, we're mostly thinking of like spells that allow you to protect yourself or attack your enemies or come up with ways to gain some advantage. But if we all had these powers, we would mostly be thinking of like ways to make our home lives easier
Mhm.
and fascinate ourselves
Uh,
with our own abilities.
That's what
Oh, no.
one of the reasons that I want to
Yes.
rouse spirit so much is because I can rouse the spirit of my apartment
break
and
a
it
plate
will be
again.
cleaner.
A
If I
relaxed
drink too much,
mage
I
game.
could wake up with no hangovers. If I want 10 more minutes to sleep, I can have 20 more minutes to sleep. No big deal.
Real
If I,
world mage.
Does no one like updating the cabal Arcana sheet? Is that what's happened here?
I think
Too much
that
work.
a lot of us have progressed in the, several hours that we've all been aware that we were playing today, and not a lot of people have remembered that sheet exists in that span.
That sheet should include me having 2 life and 2 space, which I've always.
It has 2 life, 2 space, 3 spirit. That's what it says you have.
Yeah, I bought
So
I
he-
bought
didn't
1
know-
spirit and 2 fate in 6 months.
Okay, I didn't realize you had just got fate.
Yeah. So
I was sitting on 13 experience points.
So, I'll let you guys enjoy the benefits of 1 point of experience. Guys, good job. Congratulations. I'm gonna probably try to get.
I'm gonna use that
some
To
Of
get more
you-
essential oils.
a little bit of material that has to do with events that are relevant to that might have happened during the downtime, but probably wouldn't have necessitated scenes of their own. A
How much
couple
is-
of you are definitely working on getting inducted into legacies, and that is sort of in a quantum state right now where it's assumed to have happened, even though you didn't talk about it or really think about it in this session.
I have a question.
I told it to you. that I wanted to do it.
I have a question.
I mean to say that since I didn't give you anything, your character was not in a position to be contemplating the mysteries of their legacy. You were just thinking about the present, and that stuff happened months ago.
That
Hugo
is
has a
true.
question.
Yeah, my question is,
Mhm.
are you doing anything with new legacies, with
What do
how
you
they
mean?
work, and what about like making new ones? Are you still using old ones,
I'm
or
sorry, what was that?
anything like that?
About making new legacies.
The problem is that since the legacy rules are different, and since I kind of want to start maneuvering into new rules, write-ups for one legacy exist, and I'm almost sure that none of you are particularly interested in it.
Okay.
So I sort of did a tentative one for one of yours legacies so far, and I haven't had any feedback about it, and it's not entirely complete. But there was one that exists that I was going to try to kind of translate. The translation is pretty intuitive because they basically just added one attainment lower and then one attainment higher, and the higher level attainment is not super important because it's supposed to be a very difficult level of mastery to get. It requires a high gnosis still. And
Okay.
so basically there's one that I was intending to introduce that is frequently described but never actually statted up. And so I kind of have to invent it whole cloth. And maybe it's not going to be any good. So basically, if you want to have a legacy, you can let me know, or you can look at legacies that you might want, or you can work on creating your own if that's something you're interested in.
Okay.
I'm sure you're all potentially powerful enough to work on making your own if that's something that you're really interested in. And the blog about legacies, I think, gives pretty exhaustive detail about how it's done. Like, the structure is pretty solid now. It's a good question. I don't exactly.
Okay. Also, how much does gaining 4 in your good Arcana cost? Because I didn't take the experience away yet. I got a million.
Plus
It's
3.
3 per, isn't it?
3, 4, 5.
Okay.
It's 3 for your good, 4
So
for regular,
is it
and
3
5 for
per
bad.
dot?
Yeah.
Okay, so it would be 12 to get.
No.
No, it's just 3 for the next level.
Oh, per. Okay.
There's no multiplying of your experience anymore, which I'm not sure what they were thinking, but maybe it's good.
Can I have 2 go up to a 3?
Yeah, I'll let you have 2 or 3. I'm sort of in process there too. You see, I'm making a lot of what is it like, the thing that I'm doing, like software development kind of, where I'm making a lot of neat promises about features that are going to be present by a certain arbitrary deadline, which I believe I'm saying right now 1 week. So we'll see how up to the challenge I am.
It also sounds kind of like you're going to be going for the presidential race.
Listen, my fellow Magicans,
I am.
I can't say, probably not. The
Needing
Roach
to go to bed.
other thing that I was
more
going
than-
by is that it's pretty clear to me that rotes are going to cost experience points in the new system. And whereas I was fairly comfortable waiving that cost in the interest of just making that a story thing, it hasn't really made it a story thing. It's more or less just made it a periodical stall. But as far as, I think that rotes are considerably more powerful now than they were before. And my idea was, and I really kind of hope, well, I have no idea when the actual book is going to come out. If we're being completely honest, I don't know if anybody keeps up with Onyx Path stuff, but Dave recently announced that he was looking for volunteers to be playtest groups,
Oh,
but he was interested in face-to-face groups only.
Oh.
And so I had bandied about the idea of
we work
possibly
face-to-face.
playing with Ebo and Rachel while Ebo's around, but it kind of came down to the fact that he said he wanted groups of all different sizes, including one-on-one groups, but I sort of thought that a group of indeterminate, duration, I guess, was less attractive, and also we would have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, which would mean that we could not talk about that material in this game. We couldn't use any of that material in this game, and if any of the house rules that I've made resemble the material that is in the secret documents, I would not be able to use that anymore either. And essentially what it would mean is that we couldn't play this game while we were playtesting, because I would not be able to maintain that kind of cognitive dissonance. And so basically,
Also, this guy right here, I would be pointing at me.
so basically we have, I'm having this thought that's a little clandestine, so I'm not going to share it while we're talking to people in the wide world of internet. But the point is that I had this idea that when I thought that the book was coming out sooner, the new book that is, that my thinking was I would give you all an opportunity to count up how much points worth of everything you have, basically how many experience points it would cost to build the character that you have. And then
Well,
I
I
would
mean,
give
I
you all
kept
that.
track of how many we got.
I mean with rotes costing points
Oh, gotcha.
and
With rotes
legacy
and
payments
attainments and,
costing points.
and
then I
all
would
of the
give-
different stuff like that.
I would figure out whoever has the most, and I would give you each that amount to basically rebuild your character. And there are going to be in theory, some new merits too. There's supposedly a difference between praxes, which are sort of like learned spells that aren't rotes, and rotes proper. I understand that praxes are also supposed to cost experience points, so I'm not sure how much. My idea was like, if a rote is important to your character and important that it be a rote, you can have it. If you want to elongate your points to get something different than you had before, then you could maybe discard some rotes or else reduce them to praxes and spend it on merits or something. But I mean, other than unless the person who has the most points worth of rotes that they learned through story purposes is unhappy with the character that they have, which I mean, I guess cry me a river, then I mean, I don't expect that anybody else would have a lot of trouble kind of getting their character set up the way they want.
I'm just saying, one of us right now should take the bullet for when this inevitably comes up and get as many rotes as you possibly can.
And that's my
But
point is I've
sacrifice all
sort
your
of been
stuff.
stingy about them because I don't wanna give them to you for free anymore, and I don't know how to reconcile their costs.
Well, if we're counting, I think I only have like 4 rotes, but 3 of them are level 3 rotes.
I got 7 level 6 roads. So
Oh, see, there you go.
I have 5 rotes. I have 2 2s, 2 3s, and a 1.
I got
I have 16 levels worth of rotes, if
I
that's
got
how it's being tracked.
a
You see,
few
and I have no
a few
idea.
rotes and at least 1 rotes.
Like you see,
But I guess where we're going, we
the
don't need
experience
rotes.
cost of a level 3 Arcana
Might need
versus a
Kufu,
level
though.
5 Arcana is not different. I cannot imagine a situation where a low level rote will cost less than a high level one. It doesn't make sense that they would have a different cost. And so my guess, I guess, is that if praxis cost experience points, the minimum they could cost is 1. And if rotes are better than praxis, they have to cost at least 2. It doesn't really seem likely that they cost a different amount, because if they costed as much as a level of an arcanum, that would be almost crazy, wouldn't it? But they are powerful. That's true. I will think about it, but I will probably waive the costs of legacy attainments for now, since it is something that at least in theory, I'm going to give you each the opportunity to access them at more or less the same rate. So if one of you, if by some quirk of fate this book comes out before one of you gets all of the legacy attainments up to the level that other people have, we can kind of grandfather you in to the good times back when they didn't cost.
Okay.
I mean, I like the system of an attainment costing a few experience points more than I like the system of you having to spend experience points as a tax over the entire time you.
So in his post from really a long time ago,
I'm gonna.
from November 2013, he says it wrote 1 experience per dot.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Now, I'm
Sweet,
pretty
Emo.
sure that is a post about house rules that was
Good night, people on the
devised.
stream.
Night, buddy. Night, hun.
Bye,
I'm
Ebo.
pretty sure that post comes. Okay.